Want to learn the secret to writing an excellent complaint letter? In this video, I'll share with you my top tips to writing a beautiful complaint letter that will help you ace your exams. And stick around till the end of the video because there is a killer sample that I'm dying to share with you. Don't miss out. So here we are, we're going to do a complaint letter together. So let me show you how to do it and what parts does it include, all right? So the first section is the beginning, where you're going to write your address and the company's address, okay? So if you look at the screen, the person or the company you're writing to, you should write their details on the left-hand side, and you should write your details with your address, etc., on the right-hand side, okay? So that will be the first part. After that, after you have written the company's name and the company's details and your own, you should start the letter by saying, "Dear Mr. Brown," or "Dear Sir," or "Madam," or whatever. But it's very important that you write a comma, okay? In Spanish, you know that we don't use a comma, but in English we do. So remember that, it's important. Okay, the next part is the first paragraph. And in this paragraph, you should include the reason for writing, okay? The general idea or the general problem that you are writing about. So you can say expressions or sentences like, "I am writing in order to complain about," or "I am writing in connection with," for example, "the terrible behavior or the terrible attitude or service or rudeness of the shop assistant, blah, blah, blah," okay? So you can use this expression, for instance. I will give you another alternative. "I am writing to complain about a purchase I made on your website on whatever date." Another alternative, "I am writing to draw your attention to the problem I encountered, blah, 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 blah." Okay, so I will give you a few ideas so that you can choose the one that you prefer. "I am writing to inform you that," or "I am writing to inform you of my dissatisfaction with the," and then you continue the sentence depending on your problem, all right? One more. "I wish to express my dissatisfaction with the product or with the treatment I received from whoever on whichever date." All right. So as you can see, you have a few examples. In this case, you have 5 different alternatives to begin your complaint letter. So you are never wondering, how should I start? Now let's move on to the next paragraph. In this second paragraph, you should mention the first complaint and give examples, all right? Some expressions or some phrases or some connectors that you can use to introduce your first complaint is "firstly," "in the first place," "first of all," for instance, or "the first thing I would like to draw your attention to is that," and then you continue, all right? In the next paragraph, you should mention your second complaint, okay, if you have a second complaint, by using connectors such as "secondly," "in the second place," "not only but also," "in addition to this," or "added to this." Now, if you wait until the end of the video, don't worry, because you're going to see this in a real complaint letter example, okay? So I'm just giving you the structure, but later you're going to see a whole example that probably will help you a little bit more. Okay, what else do we have? We have the next paragraph where you are going to mention the third complaint, if you have it, by saying "to make matters worse," or "not only did this happen, but also this other thing happened." All right. So this is, of course, optional. It depends on the number of problems you have had in the past, all right? And then the next paragraph, you need to mention your closing remarks and also talk about a possible solution. So you can say something like, "I hope you will replace whichever product," or "I believe that I am entitled to a replacement or to a refund," all right? Or also you can say, "I hope that this matter can be resolved promptly," or perhaps, "I insist on," or "I demand a full refund," or "I shall be forced to take legal action or to take the matter further." The last one for you, "I hope that I will not be forced to take further action." Now, to finish your complaint letter, you should say goodbye. And this is the typical format that we follow in formal writings. For example, if you don't know the addressee's name, if you don't know the manager's name or the person that you are referring to, you need to finish your letter by saying "yours faithfully" and a comma. And underneath that, you need to sign with your name. All right. This is if you don't know the person's name. However, if you do know the person's name, then you need to change yours faithfully and use yours sincerely, okay? But remember, after faithfully or sincerely, you need to write a comma and then your name underneath, all right? Now, it's important that you understand that a complaint letter is a very formal piece of writing, and it has several standard fixed expressions that we always need to use. It's not a freestyle writing where you can use the sentences the way you like, but you have to follow certain standard phrases like the ones I have shown you, okay? By the way, let me show you now the real example I just promised you before, and let's see a real sample of a complaint letter, all right? Now, once you have written the addresses and everything, you're going to begin by giving the reason for writing. For example, you can say, "Dear Sir, Madam, I am writing to express my disappointment with the quality of service and accommodation that were provided during my recent stay at your hotel. Although I had high expectations for my stay, I was unfortunately let down by several aspects of the experience." Okay, as you can see in this very first paragraph, all you are doing is mentioning the general problem and why you are writing to them. Now, to get more into details, we move on to the second paragraph, where you're going to explain your first complaint, which is, for instance, "Firstly, I would like to draw your attention to the cleanliness of my room. Upon checking in, I noticed that the room was not properly cleaned and there were several visible stains on the bedding and carpets. Additionally, the air conditioning unit in the room was not working properly, making it difficult to sleep comfortably." As you can see, what we have done here is talk about only one problem, which is the cleanliness of the room, and then describe in detail what was it all about, okay? Why was I not satisfied with the condition of the room? Okay, now we move on to the second complaint, and we can say something like, "In addition to this, the service provided by the hotel staff was lacking. On several occasions, I found myself waiting for extended periods of time for assistance or information, and the staff were not proactive in addressing my concerns." Again, in this second paragraph, all I'm doing is referencing and mentioning a second problem, completely separate from the first one, okay? And developing and adding extra information to explain better what happened. The next paragraph is all about the third complaint, in case you have it, okay? And you can say something like, "To make matters worse, I have booked a room with a view, but upon arriving, I was informed that there were no rooms with a view available. This was frustrating as I had specifically requested this feature when making my reservation." So again, we are only mentioning and explaining what the third problem was about. And then closing remarks. How are you going to finish and what solution are you expecting? You can say something like, "Okay, I believe that I am entitled to a refund for my stay, as the accommodation and service provided did not meet the standard that I expected from your hotel. I hope that this matter can be resolved promptly and take my complaint seriously." All right. So again, you are making sure that they understand what you want from them. In this case, you want a refund for your stay, and this is what you are asking, all right? And finally, the way that you're going to say goodbye, remember that we began our letter by saying "Dear Sir" or "Madam," so that's why we are finishing now by saying "Yours faithfully," okay? Remember that when you don't know the name of the person, you need to end your letter by saying "Yours faithfully." "Yours sincerely" is only when you know their names, all right? So there you go. This is our example of a sample letter, and I hope it was helpful. Congratulations! By watching this video, you have learned the key strategies for writing an amazing complaint letter that will get you the results you want. And by the way, if you would like to download the sample letter I just showed you, go to the description box below and grab it. It's free. And remember, keep writing and keep excelling. Bye-bye!